Hey guys, what's going on? I'd like to introduce you to a very special guest I got with me today, my man Jamal. And we're gonna
Yo,
go into a few things, right? We're gonna go into how you got started in your business, how my business was able to help you get yours started. And we're gonna just get this thing started. So first of all, like people to understand, thank you for taking the time out, joining us today. And thank you for taking the time out and joining me today
yes,
and
yes,
sharing your story with me. So let's get this started. I want to talk a little bit about your story, right? And since we met, how were you able to get your business going, or some of the things I was able to help you with?
I mean, like I would say, even before I met you, like I didn't even have the best state of a business mind. But once I got to talking to you, because you were always an individual who came across as a very um, business savvy individual. So, and I always had my plan about trying to get my business started. But once I got with you, you started, sharing the schematics and breaking things down for me in a way that I was able to understand because there's certain jargon once you get into the business world that you got to become, accustomed to utilizing. So once I got with you and, you started breaking things down for me in a way that I was able to understand and it became more applicable and more comprehensible for me to utilize. Then I was like, oh man, this it's possible. I could be a business
Right,
minded
right,
individual and move forward. So it became more vivid, more possible with you as I got to interact with you a little bit more. So I want to thank you for that real quick.
for sure, for sure. And it's ironic you say that because when I talk to a lot of people, they really think it's hard getting in the business or starting a business.
Yeah, yeah.
And as you know, when we was going over setting everything up, it was simpler than you thought. You see what I'm
I,
saying?
I would have never thought, man. I thought it was like when you think about it, when people first try to get into businesses or they get into a business state of mind, they always have that negative thought like, oh man, I can't do this, or it might be too much, or I don't know if I can. And once I sat down with you, that thing evaporated quick, fast. I was like,
Yeah.
damn, that's it. Wow, man. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and same as my journey when I was learning, there was a lot of things where you might have the framework in front of you, and you got the idea, and then when you get in front of someone that can structure it and tell you step A through Z is all you need to do, and you sit here and
Mm-hmm.
say, "Wait a minute, hold on, I wasted all this time being
Mm-hmm.
scared to do just
Mm-hmm.
this. That's all I had to do."
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I get a joy doing that and helping others out how I was helping. Um,
Yeah, nah, for real.
so moving on. So what would you say the problem you had prior to us, you know, getting this journey together, taking this journey together? What would you say some of the things you was running into that was problematic?
I mean, running into people who kind of thought they knew what was going on from hearsay, she say. So I would say, more or less bad consultation advice from people who may not have had the best of knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Or
Yeah,
people who were just too close as family. But I'm like, yeah, but experience and things like that. And the biggest thing I think really was myself. You know what I mean? Some people may feel the same way too. It was really myself. I was my biggest obstacle. You know what I mean? Trying to get by whatever mental block that I had prevented me to get to that business state of mind. So again, once I started talking to you and seeing the simplicity of everything, that's when I was like, man, I set myself back probably a couple of years. Had I probably met you a few years before, things like that would have been changed. But I'm just thankful that we got into this. So,
right, right, right,
you know,
right.
better
As they
late
say,
than never.
excuse me, as they say, everything happens when it's supposed to happen. You right? You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I could have gave you the information, or I could have been given the information, and you weren't in the place to receive it.
That's
You
true.
know, as you already know, we've been together personally on trips and stuff like that, and
Mm-hmm.
we've tried to tell certain individuals, listen, this is going to happen if you do this and this,
Mm-hmm.
that, and other. And it's like it went in one ear and out the other. It was like, yo, we told you
Mm-hmm.
guys this was
Mm-hmm.
gonna happen. You didn't listen. So
Seen
it's
it
like,
happen.
yeah. So even when you look at it like that personally, it's just like that in business. You can tell a person, hey, clean your credit. structure your credit like this. While you doing this, have your business properly set up and structured. So when the time comes, you'll have all that in place. We can get you funded, and then now you can have the funds to get your dream started. But when they in that mind, when they still in the scarcity mindset, or they like, I don't know, and I don't, all these they like you said, you be in your own way. You stop your own blessings. And here at Ownership, we try to get people to take control of what they got to offer. Put those dreams in front of you and get going. We're going to give you the knowledge. It's up to you to finish the race. You see what I'm saying? So we're going to tell you how to make strides, how to breathe right, and it's up to you to finish the race. But a lot of people be scared to get in front of them, get out their own way, as they should say.
I agree.
So, why would you think? What do you think was so effective about some of the things that I was able to enlighten you?
It just the reality of the situation, man. Like even like when you told me how to even go about starting a business, you know what I mean? The steps, and you were like, okay, so here you go, Jamal. This is how you do it. This thing to this link, such and such, and it really was a 1, 2, 3, like step by step. And like I said before, you would think if you don't have that state of mind, you think it's so hard to start a business. You start creating all these obstacles. You got to get this, you got to do it, and that's what I have encountered or experienced. So once you told me what it was, and I saw how effective it was, because reality started to happen, I was like, oh, yo, I got a business card, I got business credit. I'm like, yo, I see my name, and I saw things coming in the mail for me, and I was like, yo, reality is actuality. You know what I'm saying? So I like that's when it really sank in. I was like, yo, man, whatever he said, it really went down 1, 2, 3 in that fashion. So I was like, man.
Right. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because the pride you get when you start to see things that you talked about, maybe even dreamed about, start to come into fruition. And then you notice, okay, this thing is real. And then you start noticing these banks just start throwing that money at you now. You be like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. I got to apply for what? All I had to do was this? Oh, man.
Yep. Couldn't believe it.
So now, as we move along, what would be some of the things you would say on how your life has changed since you started to notice, you're starting to get approved for funding, and you got your business set up? How would you say your life has changed in that regard?
Man, I just start looking at anything as possible. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, if you feel you ought to get something, you could go and get it. My personal credit versus my business credit. I got 2 forms of credit now. I was like, I didn't even know about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like a brand new man. Damn near. I'm like, yo, I got 2 forms of credit. So now with this business credit and the money that I'm able to get, funded with, I couldn't believe that I could see this amount of money backing me up for something that I want to do for myself, as opposed to what my personal credit is giving me. And my personal credit took a really big hike thanks to you, because I started listening to what you said on how getting myself right is going to also translate over to my business side. So, man, I just feel like I feel better. So then if I see somebody else or a younger person now getting like they getting their first car, and I'm like, yo, be careful. This is what you should do. Such and such. So now it's like one man teaching another man how to do another man, then I teach another person how to do it. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I just hooked up my little cousin the other day because they was just talking about getting his cards and everything. So I put them on. I felt like the guru myself, but I'm not.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But I felt guru-ish.
So, and another thing, I'm glad you said, so because that's where we at with it. You want to learn, and you don't want to hoard the information, because we are of a certain age where it was what was the saying? The game is to be sold, not to be told.
Not to be told. Yep.
Right. So we've grown up all this time with that mind state, and where as a people, if we'd have been putting that game out there amongst each other, we all could have been in better places.
Oh yes.
You see what I'm saying? So,
oh yes.
And speaking of better places, so you mind spending a little time about your business and what you guys started, and how was it a passion for you, and how it can help others?
Well, I'm into nursing. I'm a registered nurse, I'm also a nurse practitioner. So I'm all about healthcare and trying to make sure that it reaches a population of people so that they receive optimal health and such forth. So I graduated, got my independent practice in terms of nurse practitioner, and I wanted to kind of concentrate more on my area, which is kind of the Bronx slash Long Island, Brooklyn area. I'd like to try to start teaching people how to get more into first aid, just the simple things, and then I could branch off into home health care and just try to provide opportunities for people to get little, auxiliary jobs so that they can translate it into whether they want to get into nursing or medical. So that's my biggest thing going on in terms of my business. It hasn't taken off yet. Things take time, but because of the funding that I was able to get, I can reach out with certain resources and such forth. So I'm kind of laying the groundwork. Still a little young in the game, but because I got this knowledge and this experience with you, I was able to kind of put things a little bit together because it was more like kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. I have pieces, but I didn't know how to really put it all together. So with your guidance and your instrumentation, I was able to kind of put it and focus it a little bit better in a narrow spectrum. So now I could put it together. It just needs a little bit of time, but
Nice.
I feel better about it.
Everybody starts from somewhere, right? And that's the thing. Starting as opposed to thinking,
Mm-hmm.
When you think about it, you can think about everything under the sun and notice you still in the same position you were when you started that first store. So getting started is the key, right? So
Yep.
I would like you to go a little deeper into, like you said, getting people involved into nursing. So it'd pretty much be like you go for college. It's like, okay, getting you into this mind frame, getting this understanding,
Mm-hmm.
you will have a basic understanding or maybe even an advanced understanding before you even get started in that journey of that field. Would you say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, more or less. Yeah, just like you said, the basics. You know what I'm saying? Like for instance, CPR. It's a basic thing that people should or could ought to know for certain situations that may arise. If you've already seen me in action before,
Absolutely.
you know what I'm saying. So had one or two other people who's had been more or less trained for that kind of situation in terms of CPR utilization, things might have changed on that plane. You know what I'm saying? Or I could have been more instrumental. So, but it's just raising awareness. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's my job. That's what my position is. That's what my career is. Raising awareness and educating and teaching people who may not know of something. That you don't have to be a nurse and be licensed like me, but you can learn certain things that may help extend the life or promote life for another person in an acute situation. So I just want people to kind of get that little basic stuff, and maybe it might translate to you wanting to do more for yourself individually.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I just want to be like a grassroots for somebody who wants, or some people who may want to do that and much more for themselves in my community.
Question. So for the people that may not know, right? And we can leave names out, but that situation on the plane, after it was all said and done, how did it make you feel that you was able to intervene and have things go in a better way or a more desired way than it could have? How did that make you feel like when it was all said and done, when you was in the room by yourself, recapping the situation?
Oh man. Yeah, after everything went down, because it was just so crazy, I was just glad that life was sustained. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And because we all went away on this great joyous trip, and everybody was so jovial. You know what I'm saying? We went there to have vacation, in a different location. So I was glad that we were just able to kind of mitigate the circumstances from that situation, and I educated her on her diagnosis right then there. You know what I'm saying? And then since then, we became good friends, practically family. And she's more educated on what her circumstances and how she can just make sure she diminishes experiences like that based on whatever medication or therapy she may need. But she's doing great, so it made me feel good knowing that I was able to be applicable at that time, and now things are going good. Mm-hmm.
All right. And I have to apologize to those that may be watching. You guys may not be familiar. So in brief, can we give them a synopsis of what happened? What was the scenario without, leaving,
Uh,
so they'll have an
uh,
understanding of what happened, how you got involved, and how the end result. Because we're talking, we know they don't. So we got to
Yeah,
brief
with
backstory.
with respects to
Yeah,
HIPAA and
for
everything
those
like that.
involved. Right.
Yeah, it was just a situation. We were all on a plane headed over to Bali. In the short and sweet of it, we were going from, I think it was Germany to, was that Singapore, and I think that was a duration of like 13 hours or something. So we had already done maybe 6 or 7 hours into the trip. And one of the ladies who we just kind of met all at the same time, there was like a group of 40 of us or something. She experienced her first two seizures on the plane. So it was let's say more or less a lot of pressure for me being more or less the focal point for that situation, and then having pressure from the staff, from the airport staff, airline staff, excuse me, and the pilot, all of that, making decisions and such for us. And luckily we were able to get some medications that were able to help us for that time, to buy time to make it to Singapore, to then be seen by the medical staff over in Singapore before we cleared to go over to Indonesia. So and it's crazy because real quick, they had another, when we was on the plane coming back, they had another person who had like high blood pressure issues. So we ended up medicating her too. So I was pretty much working on that plane, going and coming.
Yeah. Working while on holiday. Right.
Yeah, but that's it. Sorry, everybody. I mean, that was it.
So see now, and I want to talk to you guys and explain something, right? What I do and what he do, even though they may be different spectrums, they vital, and because look at it like this: with his knowledge in the medical field and starting a business and teaching those to get in the medical field or start their own journey, you can also benefit from his knowledge that he's teaching, where you can be empowered to also help a loved one, a stranger, or a friend in a dire need. Now, you didn't have to go to school. You didn't have to take out all these loans. You didn't have to do any of that. You could have joined this program and service and got that knowledge firsthand, and then been able to help your fellow man. As opposed with me, I'm on the spectrum of financial literacy and teaching people how to leverage their credit to start or scale their business. Preferably me, mine is in trucking. However, it's applicable to any industry, as you can tell. He's in the medical field. I'm not in the medical field. I don't teach that, but I teach financial literacy. So that was able to help him use his knowledge, structure it out, and be able to teach others that will help people in the need. Me, on the other hand, I leverage my credit, get into the trucking game. And as we all know, trucking is a pillar next to the medical industry as essential industry. Because without trucks moving around, delivering goods and services and products, economic turmoil will happen. You understand what I'm saying? Because shelves will go bare, infrastructure will break down, everything will fall apart. Just like we need, the key example of that was, look at COVID. When everything shut down, who was out here rolling? Medical personnel and truckers. It never changed for us. We was running out here on these roads, getting medical supplies to the hospital, getting medical supplies to the urgent care facilities. These trucks got to keep moving. Medical has to be taught from different avenues, not only in your institutions. It has to be taught from different avenues, because we all need to be empowered with the necessary information to keep us all moving and keep us unified. So I love that. I love this. I love how this is going. I love the information that's being spread out. So we're coming up towards the end, right? Because we can go on all day. We don't want to bore the people. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to bore. But if there's anyone watching that is on the fence about booking a call or, getting services, what would you say would be ideal decision for them to make? You dig what I'm saying? But like, all right. Anybody on the fence, what would you say to them?
I mean, it's always easy to be on the fence, but it's the grass is greener when you get over the fence. You know what I'm saying? But you got to take that leap for yourself. Like I said, everybody's worst enemy sometimes is their own, self thoughts or perceptions and stuff like that. But once you take a gamble on yourself, what I mean, you reap some real benefits. You know what I'm saying? So I forget the fence, scale the fence. That's what I'm saying. Scale the fence. The grass is greener, the sky is bluer, all of that. The water is clearer. Everything is just better when you take a gamble on yourself and you try something different instead of staying in that one realm where you're so comfortable at. You know what I mean? Never get comfortable being comfortable. Try to make yourself uncomfortable. That kind of approach.
Yeah, those that follow me are not familiar with that term. That is a running term within the circles. You have to be uncomfortable. Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Being uncomfortable. Yep, that's the one.
Because those things will have you making decisions and performing in ways that you've never imagined. Like for example, a few years ago, I was driving a truck. It was a snowstorm in the southeast region. Driving the truck and roads have iced over, and everybody was slipping and sliding over the road. I'm talking about within 10 exits, I would say. I counted 15 trucks slid off the road. And I parked, got off the road. Everybody was messages, the company I was working with at the time, sending the message, everybody get off the road, everybody get off the road. So I got off the road, took a nap, about 3 hours or so, wake up, look at the highway, because the truck stop where I was at wasn't too far off the highway. So you could see cars moving. So I was like, okay, it was like Georgia going into Florida area. So it was kind of warmer than it was in upper Alabama, Tennessee, where I was at, where it was really glazed over and iced over roads. So my silly butt feels like, okay, there's movement going on. I could get back up and running. Mind you, no one from the company said or gave me the okay to keep it moving or start back driving. But I wanted to take it on myself to keep it moving. So in the process of doing so, I had to get off the highway. Now I'm taking back roads. So now the highways was good in that area. It was warm enough. It started melting. Road traction, heating up the roads, melting the ice. But now when you're talking about side roads where there's minimal sun and less mobility going on, it's still patches of ice, still iced out roads. So I go down these off roads and these back roads because that's along my route. I had no choice. So now I'm noticing as the road I'm coming up, there's a truck there and then there's a car behind me. And then I see another car coming down a side road. He said, those guys are trying to get up the hill. It's too icy. They can't get up the hill. So I would say, he was like, go down this way. There's a church where you can turn around and go back the way you came. Okay, cool. So mind you, I just told you I'm at a crossroad of a road that I just came through. Told me to go up that way, come around, and I come back the same road. I do just that. Do you know when I came back that same road, I'm coming down a slight decline. I start to lose traction. Mind you, I'm on the phone with a friend of mine at the time. As we going downhill, I start to lose control of the truck. So now I'm doing all the counter steering, doing everything I could do. When I tell you, Jamal, as I'm heading this way, I lost so much control when my tractor turned. When it turned, they call it jackknifing. If you notice when you open up a knife, how it flips open.
How it flips open, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like that, right? So to say this is the truck, this is me in the cab, this is my trailer. I was like this, but I was still going forward. So I'm facing backwards. I'm facing the trailer, but I'm still going that way. You see what I'm saying? I hit the side of the road. It slid off the side of the road into a batch of dirt. So I didn't flip over. I didn't lose my load or anything.
Thank God.
Right. So little damage to the truck because the way the truck slid, it kind of slapped the trailer. Mm-hmm. But when I tell you, my friend I was like, damn. This is how I'm talking to you now. I'm like, damn. He's like, yo, what happened? I'm like, yo, I just slapped up. And he said, what do you mean you just slapped up? I said, yo, man, I just had an accident. And he said, wait a minute, wait. When? I said, just now.
Just now.
Yeah. So he was saying, you were too calm for someone to be in an accident just now. And I said, freaking out doesn't help anything. So, that long story is to tell you how you need to remain stoic in any situation. And me being calm and handling it, I was able to have a phone conversation while I have an accident and trying to keep control of the truck. And like he said, when someone on a plane is having a medical issue, he was able to be stoic enough to get in and aid help. And so yeah, that's the story on how being two essential industry people, and how important it is for us to get the knowledge out to others where they can take advantage of it. So in closing, if some people would like to know or get a more understanding, where can they get in contact with you or follow you for more of your information?
You can get at me. Email is jjlashley@gmail.com. Send me an email. We can start to introduce ourselves from there, and then sky's the limit from there.
Good stuff. And once again, my name is Daryl at Ownership Consultant. Be looking forward to you guys signing up and getting to know more about me and getting familiar with taking control of your ownership one day at a time. Jamal, thanks for coming out. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me,
Good
man.
speaking to you.
Good to speak to you too, brother.
All right. More life, more love.
Peace.
Till next time.
Bye-bye.